From the Woodshed, a casual conversation with Chase Morrill and Ryan Eldridge from Kennebec Cabin Company, the team that inspired the hit show Maine Cabin Masters. From the Woodshed is brought to you by Nelma, see the stamp, trust the quality. By Hero Media Arts, connecting small business with new customers. And by Hammond Lumber, your building project partner. Now, from the Woodshed Studios at KCC headquarters in Manchester, Maine, it's Chase and Ryan.
From the Woodshed, I'm Chase Morrill. With me, as always, Ryan Eldridge and Maggie Morrill.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
We're here to talk about all things cabins, all things Maine, all things Maine cabins, and today, stone houses.
Stone houses.
Our guest today is Jeff Devlin, the host of Stone House Revival. You can find it on HGTV and DIY Network. You can find us at KennebecCabinCompany.com, MaineCabinMasters.com, our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channels, and check out our online store for great merchandise, shop.KennebecCabinCompany.com. We always want to thank our sponsors for making this possible: Nelma, Nelma.org, EasternWhitePine.org, SprucePineFir.org, HeroMediaArts.com, and Hammond Lumber Company, the official building material supplier of Kennebec Cabin Company.
Every time it gets better. Someday you don't even have to look at that. You just feel like mumble it in your sleep.
I'll be saying it in my sleep.
This whole stone house thing amazes me. I got so many questions.
Yeah, this should be a good one. He's been doing this for a while. He actually works with the same production company we do, Dorsey Pictures, so it'll be fun to pick his brain.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
Man, what a week.
What a week.
Spring's here sometimes, somewhat.
Yeah, it was a beautiful week. New cabins are going nicely. It's actually a cold, rainy / snowy day today, so we're all dragging a little bit.
Yeah, it's a tough Friday. I had that 2:30 feeling today. I actually got a coffee in the afternoon.
Wow.
It's been a while.
But I think it was also just such a nice week. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of a
when you're
easy Friday.
skiing on Saturday and sunny and 70, then you come in on the Friday like it's like we'll make it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Things are going good though. We started a new round of camps.
Yeah, we started a new round of camps. Eva just got home from Missouri yesterday.
They did they deliver the pregnant horse, or what was the deal with that?
They were bringing out a horse to someone out there, and then they were bringing another horse
Back?
They brought her out there to get pregnant, and then they're going to bring her back.
Interesting. The whole horse world's pretty fascinating.
That's a long trip booty call.
Yeah.
But I mean,
all right, we're going to go to the next subject. I'll be blushing. Maggie will be mad. I was going to start asking questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else is going on?
I went skiing the last time with the Saddleback. That was awesome. End of the year was beautiful. Good year.
It was a good year.
And to think they're getting more snow right now is crazy. Just when the job sites dried out.
Yeah. No job sites have dried out. Mud's drying up.
What's going on with the woodshed?
The woodshed. The woodshed was a mud pit. The woodshed is drying out. We're waiting on a few last things to make the big changes, but we got piles of dirt ready to go.
Yes, it will shortly be under construction. So if you show up in the next couple of weeks, it's still open, still parking. Just bear with us while we make it so that it's not a mud pit ever again.
We're under construction. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. And that's been kind of one of the banes of why it's been a long week. It's just a lot of work. You forget, like when you step into commercial stuff, and we got it easy doing cabins.
Yeah.
We get the keys and that's it. And like then you take on a different project and it's like you're back to the real world. It's like, oh God, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. But I'm sure we, again, can commiserate with Jeff.
Yeah. It'd be good to talk to him.
Nice.
We're having one of
What
those
are you
days.
two doing
I'm just
over
trying. Our brains are broken.
I know. It's been, well, you know what it is? It's like film crew was here for 3 weeks. End of winter, spring starting, and then this last week has just been crazy. I felt like I was walking around in circles. My phone was ringing off the hook. The other day, I actually counted my phone calls. Guess how many?
19.
71 phone calls, okay? They started at like 6:45, and that was like 7:15. 55 texts, and I didn't even check my emails. I was like, and that was Wednesday. I think Monday was even worse.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been tough.
It's
been a great week for me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's right. You are now officially on April vacation.
Yep.
Nice. Any big plans?
No, actually, I have nothing going on.
No trips.
Just a weird times, but
Yep.
I think the end's coming in sight after this year. It'll be good. I saw you got a new boat. I saw that today. Dual boats, huh?
Do you know anything about inboard motors?
I know it should break out another 1,000. That's the acronym for boat. Does it run?
Don't know.
Oh, what about that boat guy that
Yeah,
does house-
Randy.
oh, Randy.
I'm gonna call him, but
He's good.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't even know like how to tell.
It looks like it's in good shape.
Yeah.
You put the muffs on it, right? Put that in a bucket of water and then...
Well, I had to. No, I haven't done that. I didn't have a key for it, so I had to buy a new ignition. So.
I am not good with engines. I'm the
I
last
know.
person to ask.
But I did. Did I tell you that? I've made arrangements to have the Unimog towed to a mechanic.
Nice. Awesome.
Because I was out to Chelsea the other day, stopping by Clary Lake, swung back through there, and called the tow truck. He's going to have it towed out to Great Northern Motor Works in Reedfield. And I was talking to him. He actually used to live in Europe and worked on old Unimogs, so
Perfect.
yeah.
And the Unimog is semi-famous from the Bickford episode. We got it. It's been on that side of the river ever since. So
It has.
that's exciting. That thing's going to come back to life.
Yep. Fletcher's really excited. He
gonna be
thought,
cool.
He thought for sure it was gone for good, but
The Unimog in Parade and then take the barfly cart right out of it.
The worst idea I've ever heard.
I'm not driving that barfly cart.
Good time. Stay tuned for that. It'll be interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we will be right back with our guest. All right, and we are joined today with Jeff Devlin, the host of Stonehouse Revival on HGTV and the DIY Network. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Oh, no, wait. Hold on. I want to do my come into scene by raising my seat up.
Oh, nice.
Is it
I like
working?
it. I like it.
So you are in your office, a true
I,
true contractor / carpenter's office, the front seat of your truck.
Yep. And of course, normally I go over to the passenger side, but there's crap in the back seat.
Oh, yeah.
I got my hand over the thing. There's wood in the back seat. There's the trailer hitched on. It's just, every time that you're going to have the time to, I had it all planned out. I was so excited because I saw in some of the notes that they had sent, like, you got, you can have a beer, coffee, whatever to cheers the guys. I was so looking forward to a Guinness. With you guys, it wasn't even funny. Now,
Well,
I just got water.
So you have your water. We have our Baxter Brewing. We have the Hazy IPA again. Baxter Brewing's a local brewing in Maine, and they support our podcast. And they provide us with these beautiful Woodshed mugs. So we'll have a drink for you, bud.
I know, I feel bad, but not that bad.
And when you come up to Maine,
Bastards.
we'll buy your first couple.
Wait, hold on.
Cheers.
Just as pleasant.
But oh, there goes Jeff. There he's back.
No,
He's
I'm
back.
here.
But
I'm here.
what we know you're paying because I sometimes we leave on a Monday morning and you think you're going one spot and the next thing you know you're 2 hours away. I mean, I've been leaving for the week and been back home that night. And now she's like, "What are you doing home?" Just you never know in this industry.
So it is funny. You try to plan it as best as possible and you try to be flexible, but there's certain things that, like, I don't know. I like to have control and be when I need to be somewhere and have that control. But in television, you don't really get that. You have to let go of a lot. And sometimes that's hard for someone like myself. I can't speak for you guys, but it's not always easy. I like my truck. It's nice to live in it, but I don't have a bathroom in it. So I got my Dunkin', filled with excrement, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, it's a weird life we live.
Yes.
But a fun one.
Tell us a little bit about Stonehouse Revival and how long you've been doing the show versus doing because you've been a carpenter well before the show, like us, and how you kind of got into just
in front of the damn camera.
Yeah.
So the truth is that I have been a carpenter since I was like 15 years old. Not always a good carpenter, but a carpenter nonetheless. I wore the flannels and had the pencils and had a couple of tools, and then it grew from there, obviously. Over the years, I was actually a cameraman for all these shows too.
Oh, wow.
So
Really?
I held the cameras back when it wasn't digital and you had your Beta SPs and stuff like that. The old, bigger cameras, the heavier, you needed to know a decent amount to lug those suckers around. And then I actually started with a camera crane. So those big 34 or 35 foot camera cranes that would swing around at concerts. I looked at it as like a game at the time, see how many people I can get really close to their head. And so it was cool. Like, it took me all over the United States, but it also took me to Renovation TV, which, being behind the camera for as long, or being behind it for as long as I was, it was an easy transition for me. And quite honestly, how it happened, I could make the story really long, but it's kind of boring. I was working on a show. They were dropping off a camera that was a rental, one of the guys that I'd worked with. And oddly enough, he saw me working on my own house. And I was doing, when you get the time to do stuff on your own house, whenever that is, you really focus and take the time and you want it right. I was hand cutting an old joint called a jack miter. And this guy was dropping off the camera. He's like, that's right. You still do carpentry. Because I had a nice balance of freelance photography and then my carpentry business on the side. He literally came back the next day with a new camera and was technically lied to me and said, I want to test out this camera. I'm like, all right, fine. And you guys know when you're working, you want to work. You don't. And it's even sometimes tough when you're doing a TV show. Right. You still want to work sometimes. Yes. You don't want to talk. You don't want to go and explain everything. So anyway, I'm sitting there with a cup of coffee. He comes over with his wife and he's like, look, we're going to be flies on the wall. We just want to film you. And I'm like, all right, but fine, just do it quick so he could test out the camera. He sent the camera in, and 2 weeks later, I was asked to be on a show on HGTV called Spice Up My Kitchen. And that show ran 6 seasons. Wow. On HGTV. Yeah, it was crazy. Then after that, and each time, my experience is always when I'm done, I'm like, I am never doing television again. That is so horrible. It's like pregnancy. And I want to be careful when I say this, that it's like women forget how much it hurts. Like the pain of pregnancy and the pain of what it's like to be pregnant and then to give birth and to have all those things. And then, a year later be like, or even a couple of months later, it's not like they forget and be like, oh, I'm ready to get pregnant again. I'm like, no, that was horrible. What happened to you? You were miserable. And that I liken my life to pregnancy. Because I'm going to get so much hate mail.
But they get a lot of joy from it too, So as you probably do, as hard as it is, everything you struggle through, there's still a lot. It's very rewarding.
Yes. Well, it is funny. I mean, we can joke about it, but the truth is that carpenters who love what they do are very content, and to bring it to an audience that we have the potential to show what we do and how much fun it is. It's kind of bringing carpentry into an era where kids just don't really want to do it anymore. They don't want to be they didn't want to be hands-on. Now, homeowners are kind of getting a little bit more integrity with their work. They want to be able to do this. They want some nicer tools. It's not just slapping stuff here and there. It's actually building and having the integrity to make sure it looks cool. Mm-hmm. And that, to be a part of the whole wave of all this is I'm pretty proud.
Nice. Now, do you find there's more pressure do you put more pressure on yourself because you do have experience on the other side of the camera? Like, on our side of things, we have no experience being behind a camera, and so we just do what we do. But, coming at it where you've seen, kind of how things are being framed, what you kind of have to make happen, it almost seems like there would be more pressure on yourself to...
Or you're thinking about being a cameraman while doing it. Yeah. Because the only time we do is if someone wants to take a picture with us, we know enough you want the sun on your face, and that's about it. But I imagine if you're doing some cool stuff, you're like, oh well, he's over here, so you're thinking to help him out a little bit. It's got to be tough, like you're saying.
Well, it is sometimes that too much, and it's not all the time. Like when you get into your groove, you just do your thing. The cameraman JP and I've known him since the first show. Oh, perfect. And that's also what helped me transition. I would have never been able to do what you guys do and just jump on camera, not know anybody around you. I knew the whole crew because I worked with them before behind the camera. So nothing really changed for me. So for me, I don't want to say it's hard in any way. It's a team effort, as you well know. When your production team is good, and honestly, the same company that shoots your show shoots our show.
Yeah.
Right.
So Dorsey, we've been working with Matt.
Yep.
And the Matt Squared, and what an experience! It's like this is the first time where I'm able to just do stuff, and they don't stop me in the middle of something. And it's, for me, it's almost invigorating to do it this way, and I've never experienced it this way.
Nice.
That's good.
Have you guys? Now I'm going to ask you questions. Have you guys ever done any other television besides this?
We have
No,
not.
we did a pilot for the History Channel
With Dorsey.
with Dorsey called Lost
Okay.
Cabin Hunters, which was kind of a different premise.
But that's how that morphed into Maine Cabin Masters. So no, we'd be doing construction with or without a film crew around. We just happened to have one tagging with us.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, or to labor on the other point, is that a lot of where I am now is because I've been canceled in the past, and that, you take it hard. Like it's personal for me. And when you see some other shows succeed, and then you're like, what am I doing wrong? And each time, I don't care who you are, maybe other people are good at it, but carpentry's not a competition. It never is.
Right.
It's just, you like doing things like nailing a 2x4 and putting it together and nailing down floors. Everybody should know how to do it as a carpenter. But television is, you know how to do it, and then you talk through it and make it entertaining.
Right.
So for me, knowing, and as the strangest thing is that Stonehouse, while we're shooting now, it was canceled 2 years ago. So they gave us the boot and, just was like, okay, you're done. And you're like, wait, what? I'm done. And your regular life and building stuff is one way, but in television, it's like, you got to have it done. You've got to coordinate a lot of things. Time is money when production things. So when that stopped, you go back to another, your old ways. And then, but also in your head, you're like, they didn't like me, Mom.
Yeah, it's got to be a hit to the ego.
Chase and I,
It is.
we've talked about building a brand because it's inevitable. It's going to come. A day will come sometime. So
Yeah.
just trying to build a brand and, wait for that day. And we were season to season, and it was hard because you're kind of hanging in the balance, and people are offering you do you want to build these houses? So we really couldn't commit to some of these projects and kind of waiting. The waiting's been the hardest thing,
And it's a huge shift going from having, the homeowners being the ones, writing the check, saying what they want and delivering to them. You throw in this whole other TV side of things. It's okay, now you have to balance delivering to them and delivering to the homeowners. It's definitely adds a whole nother layer that I don't think we ever even considered before any of all this.
And that's why we drink hazy IPAs.
Exactly.
So where are you right now? Pennsylvania?
Schwenksville, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Bucks County.
Yeah,
close.
actually, you know what? This one might be Montgomery County. So normally our homes are, the show always said Bucks County because that's where I grew up.
Yep.
But truth be told, I live in Chester County, which is an hour away. And I know it's weird. I mean, you probably know the same thing. Casting can be problematic sometimes. We try to pick properties that are at exactly somewhat close because of our schedule. We're doing 2 to 3 jobs at once.
Yeah.
So right now we have houses that luckily I was able to figure it out where they're 2 miles apart. So we were at one house in the morning. Now we're at another house in the afternoon.
We pulled that off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's horrible. It just, I live out of my trailer and my truck. I want to put a bed back there just because you're like, gosh, dang it. You're going all over the place and you're not sure where you're going to be. You're not sure where you are. You live on your phone to figure out. Half the time I just push the button where the GPS just says, go here. I'm like, all right. And normally when you do these jobs, they're linear. If you're anything like my company, it's a smaller company and you just do the job till it's done and then you get paid and you move on to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How big is your footprint? So in Maine, we always try to do them in clusters, like you said, and we'll try to go in one direction. We'll go towards Western Maine and do a bunch out that way, or we'll go towards Northern Maine, or we'll go down down east towards Acadia. But I mean, if you figured out the furthest points you've gone, I mean, it's 4 or 5 hours drive in between them all, with us located in the center.
We're not, so we won't drive that far, just because logistically I have kids, and I will tell you that my kids now, my oldest is in college. She's almost 19 and my son's almost 17. And I've been doing the television stuff for, I think it's almost 12 years now, on and off. Like every time I do it, I think I'm good. And then at the end of it, I'm like, no, not going to ever do that again. And then I get sucked back in. But I've missed a lot. Like, I don't want to miss anything anymore. So for us, the old homes are right here. They're right here. So I don't want to go any further than an hour. If I can't sleep in my bed at night, it's not worth it. And the older I get, and the more, this is where, take note, the more your show is popular, then the smaller that circle goes, because you could find houses close by, or you could find story points.
We're seeing that.
Absolutely.
We're definitely seeing that.
And by the way, I can't turn on the damn channel without seeing you guys, and I get sucked in every time. Every single time.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what's the history behind all the stone houses in that area?
Just general,
Is that
as
just
far as
was it the building style? Was there just a lot of stone available? Because that's
so
what
it's
blew
just,
my mind.
So it's a lot of Bucks County, anywhere in this area. There's stone everywhere. You literally could dig a hole in the ground and you'd hit beautiful Bucks County fieldstone. Or red argillite is another one. We see more of the pretty fieldstone. So when they were building homes, again, for you to go and cut a tree down, as you guys well know, you hew it by hand, pit saws, all the whole thing. It takes time. If I could go out in the backyard, just dig some holes, and I have a very stable building product and lime mortar and stick it all together, that's going to be the go-to, because you'll clear cut the area where the stone's going to be, drop as little as trees as you can, get your summer beams in and get your joists in there, and then get to work. And the way it was almost easier. I know it sounds crazy, because when you look at some of these homes, you're like, how did they get a stone that looks like it's 500 pounds up 15 feet in the air without, a ladder, and how they would do it. And again, I could go on forever. It was a process by which you can see in the front of a stone house, you'll see small either plugs of wood, or you'll see small stones and these beautiful, big, huge stones. That was, as they were building it up, they just jammed a beam in there, cantilevered it off, threw a big chunk of wood on top of it, and used it as scaffolding. So it's pretty wild to think. I mean, and as soon as you go down south, the soil changes. Yeah. When you start going west, same thing. So this area is just, there's stone absolutely everywhere. And it was easy and pretty. And even though they covered it, I don't know why. I mean, we always say we're saving history. We're doing exactly the opposite by uncovering the stone. Yeah. Like, it was all plastered, so we just rip it apart.
So it was mostly field stones that they didn't really manipulate a lot. It wasn't quarrying. They just took what was in the ground, threw it up there, and covered it over and called it good.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And when you say they didn't really, if you look at an old stone house, you're not going to look at it the way, when people put up veneer nowadays, they're very specific to do this and do this. If you really look at some of the primitive old stone homes, it's like cattywampus and kind of just thrown on there.
Yeah.
Again, remember, say you start building a house and you're stacking stones, any project that I've ever started, and I will guarantee you guys feel the same way. You're all gung-ho at the beginning. And by the 14,000th stone, you're like, screw this, glue it on, don't care, put a tarp over it. I'll sleep in the barn. You got to remember the times, you're trying to get in set for winter. Similar to when you guys are doing a cabin in the summer, you're like, we cannot be doing this in January in Maine, because it's cold as hell. It's miserable. Everything takes more time. Same thing as our pioneers. It was trying to do this at an optimal time to make it quick and easy.
Yeah, because up here, yes, we have, plenty of fieldstone, but stone houses you see up here, it's all granite where it's been quarried and cut and, I mean, just so much amount of labor going into making it. it's interesting to see, you know, how it is just the field stones. You know, same thing up here. We're working under these sills, and they just take logs for cabins, throw them down, clean up one side, and there's your floor joist, there's your beams, everything. It's, you know, use what you have, make it work, and get it done as quickly as possible so you can use it.
And you don't see, I mean, the reason why you don't see, I mean, it's population too. So down in Philadelphia with the major cities, New York's, when you get anywhere close to the major cities at the time, you're going to see a lot more prominent houses and less primitive, because they wanted the big house. They wanted something fancy, what have you. And then you get up into Maine, you go down into West Virginia. It's just a matter of shelter at the end of the day. And that's kind of cool. That's a part of the history that I enjoy. I don't like, in all honesty, I'm not even sure I should say it out loud, but I don't like the expensive houses. Right. I like the ones that it looks like your grandfather built. I just think it's that unique character.
Yeah, for sure.
That I think, it makes it different. And when you go in a development, which I'm literally staring at the house we're working on, which is, you know, right there. And then there's a development of all the same house with like these plastic shutters. And I'm like, it looks nice. And literally when you look at it, they're emulating the old shutters, everything, but it's just out of vinyl. Now you're going to make me cry, because not only am I not drinking, but now I'm...
So you live in an old farmhouse.
250-year-old stone farmhouse.
Wow. Nice.
I don't know what I was thinking. No, I love it. I have a fireplace that's like the size of the whole entire wall. The benefit of being a carpenter is that I always have wood scraps. Yeah. So I don't even have to get firewood most of the time. I'm burning everything in there, keeping it warm. Now, I've always appreciated or always enjoyed something unique and different. It's not always pleasant to be freezing your ass off in the middle of winter. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know. I like just to be different in a weird way. I don't want to be in the same house that everybody else has.
Right.
And I like that unique quality about it.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have trouble finding workers? I mean, so that's what, you know, up here, there's so much work. It's endless. It's really the labor force that's the hardest thing right now. We're fortunate with a show where we're able to keep, you know, really good people with us and draw people in. But do you find the same issues down in your area? Or do you see younger people getting more interested in the trades, like you mentioned earlier?
So there are kids interested in the trades, but I think, and this is something you guys have probably came across, is that they're more interested in the TV aspect, and they want to do a YouTube channel, and which is funny. I have no interest in doing any of that stuff, not even a little bit. When I watch some of the influencers, it's so much work. It's like, oh my Lord. But for me, I had a really great helper for a long period of time, and I loved having him there. It was not a lot of fanfare. And then he was done, and he was like, I'm going to move on and do something else, with little explanation, just gone one day. Like, I felt like I lost a sibling or something. And he was a young kid, worked his butt off, and then all of a sudden gone. And then you try to find somebody else, and it's like, well, I could help you with the show. I'm like, I don't need help with the show. I need help in the shop. I need help with this. And the kids want to start at like $35 an hour for, I'm like, you don't even have any tools.
Yeah. And the days of growing up.
I got a new pair of Timberlands though. Yeah. I'm like, you're set. You're good.
I remember when I started out, I was on the chop saw. Like, I didn't touch a nail gun when I was a young guy or the ground guy. And like now, like we're pretty open to guys. Like, we let them do some layout. We let them touch the nail guns. But like, you guys don't know how hard we had it. Like, we didn't get to do any of this. Like, you had to earn your way up.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to touch. So I worked with a company for years where they, it was like a subcontractor or whatever. It was 1099. So they bought a 300-year-old house in northern Jersey, and they were going to redo it themselves. And the cool part is they wanted it all to be original. So I was literally learning and being paid to do this stuff. So it was like, go up in the attic. We're going to take the attic boards out. We're going to hand plane them all and put them downstairs. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I have a power planer in my trailer. You can just run that sucker right through. And then after a while, he was like, no, we're going to hand plane. I'm like, you have a hand plane? I'm like, no, I don't have a hand plane. I have a power planer. Did you hear me?
Right.
And he was like, no, we want these specific marks. So I was able to do that solely because I was paid to do it. Because of my personality, I don't think I would still own a hand plane if I wasn't forced to at that time. Now, honestly, I appreciate it a lot more, and I find the balance with doing both, with trying to get a certain look, but finding people, I don't want to say I've given up, because if you're in construction right now and you're not busy, something's wrong. Right, yep. Like, I don't care. Maybe in other parts of the world they're having troubles, but right now it's like so crazy, almost to the point of like, I don't like turning work away. Yeah. And I'm saying, yeah, we're about a year out right now. And me personally, I'm nervous about, do you know what you're going to be doing a year from now? Like, it's weird to do that. Absolutely. And it's weird. And I'm not a fan of hiring like a ton of workers. I did that when I was younger. And pretty much right now, the way we've worked the show, which is that I have my right-hand guy, Steven, it's all his crew. I'm not good being a boss like that. I know, Chase, it says when I watched the show and it says boss underneath your name, I was like, wow, is that what a boss looks like? Do I have to get a
that is.
No.
His sister should have the same title.
Yeah.
Right.
But how do you feel about taking on that role and doing that? You just want to get your, by the way, he's looking at you like, oh, he loves it. He loves it.
It's definitely been difficult shifting away from swinging the hammer and, getting more into the, keeping the jobs going, making sure materials are being ordered, the person, right. Personnel, all that stuff. I'm happy if I can spend a day on a job site, leave my phone in the truck like that. But I think it was hard realization for both of us,
right,
that we can't do that all the time because we have to keep the business running. And
so that's the hardest part, is that if any advice that I could give is that in years past when I started, TV ran my life. And I remember when I started these shows, I made $200 a day being an on-air carpenter, which I was making more as a carpenter, right. And now I'm being paid less to have more responsibility to do all this stuff. And, I'm thinking I'm going to drive some Maserati when you hear the word TV. So for all the kids out there, you make more money as a carpenter than you do a TV carpenter.
Get in the trades.
Go in the trades.
Get in the trades. Now, how do you deal with the pressure and, because that's a big one for us too, is the pressure and the timelines to keep,
Pills.
Okay, good. But, with us, the film, we have hard deadlines. We, have to get these done by certain time in order to meet schedules, which again is not typical. I mean, yes, you have deadlines typically in carpentry, but it's been tough for us to kind of manage
flexibility.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, you have flexibility, and doing more than one at the same time has been, I don't want to say a nightmare because that's the way it's always been, but it is stressful. I mean, it takes a lot out of you, and you're trying to beg Peter to pay Paul, because at the same time we're trying to meet a deadline, but you're also trying to do a TV show. So then we're trying our best to make it interesting. So things that sometimes aren't interesting, you're trying to make it interesting because that's what you're filming that day. So, and then you're thinking, and I'm sure you guys do the same thing, you're like, okay, what's interesting about this stud wall?
Right. Repetition.
It's a stud wall.
Yeah.
And trying to wrap your head around that, but also then, because I think a part of me wants to really tell somebody, okay, this is a Doug fir. This tree's going to be here. Look at the history behind this stone and this, and go way out of control. And one of the old producers that I had was like, Jeff, it's 22 minutes with commercials, dude. Like, let's just maybe not talk so much about that.
Yeah.
And talk and just have just work and do your thing and have a conversation about anything and everything. It's not always beating people over the head on how to do something, which always I was like, we're on the DIY network, so let's teach them how to do it. And they're like, dude, we need like a 4-hour epic show on one house if we listens to all the crap you spewed out of your mouth, Jeff. So I've been able to pick and choose, saying like, and being smart about it. When you guys start a cabin, you look at something and you pick and say, this is what I'm going to focus on. This is what I'm not. And the not stuff that I'm not going to focus on, I'm not going to worry about. I have somebody else take care of that. I don't think about it. I don't look about it, and I have no control over it. And that's been somewhat helpful for me. And what's really for me, having they come to my shop, which is nice, and being in my shop is my happy place. I can control that environment.
Yeah, sure.
That I like. That's the only way. In this, schedules are going rampant. We try our best. We don't always. Today we were supposed to do a scene where we're putting boards in through a window. It's still drizzling, so we can't use the drone. And then that scene gets tossed, and I'm like, well, that's not my fault. It was raining. Right. So then we have to reschedule it. Where in reality, we need to have those floors in, so those floors can be done. They can be sanded, and we can stay on schedule. But production doesn't, you know, they're producing a TV show, and rightfully so. It's just because you're trying to keep friends and keep everybody happy. That's the hardest, is that I'm a people pleaser and I don't like to say no, but I'm learning pretty quickly.
Sometimes it's more helpful. Yeah, it's more helpful to say no sometimes.
Oh, all the time.
All right, so my daughter Maggie has a few questions from fans for you.
Hi.
Oh, hi, daughter Maggie.
She's hiding in the corner.
All right, are we ready?
Sure.
Peggy Ellen Feehan says, what was one stone job you thought was beyond saving, but your team did it?
One stone job that's beyond saving. I have yet to come across that, because I think that the ones that look the most desolate and desperate are the ones that I want to do.
They make us look the best.
So, yeah.
And the most challenging.
Yeah. I like it when we're like, when the Mason, Ed, is like, we can't do this, man. We can't. No, Ed, we're going to figure it out. He's like, it's going to cost you a fortune. I'm like, it's not going to cost me a fortune. It's going to cost the homeowner a fortune. And, you know, do I get a discount? So really that's, you know, I reluctantly say it's not happened yet. I can tell you that I live very close to Valley Forge. If you remember in history, which by the way, I was not into history when I was a kid. I absolutely hated it. Thought it was boring. It smelled like farts. I didn't like history. I just didn't like history. Now I'm so sucked in, and Valley Forge, the National Historic Park, has these homes that are like literally ruins that the government can't tackle anymore. And that's my next, regardless of TV or not, that's the one, that's my piece de resistance. I gotta do.
Nice.
You know, like it's one of those things that you drive by it all the time and you're like, oh, I want to do that one.
Yep.
And hopefully before I die, I get to start that one.
Excellent.
Fingers crossed. Sorry, Maggie, I probably didn't answer your question that well because I'm ADD.
It's okay.
Hopefully that was close.
It's okay. All right. Next question is from Kathy Hummingbird. Is it hard to replace old rock/stone with new stone?
So, yes and no. If we're having to patch something in, and we could go get stone at the stone yard, but quite honestly, here's a little trick. If the stone was in the yard originally, if you dig in the right place, you'll find more stone. So that's the beauty in it. And people think like we're craftsmen and crazy awesome. What we do is disguised plagiarism. It's already been done before, and we have a map of how they did it. And if they got the stones from the yard, then we're going to do the same thing. There's some things that I've been called out on, like the EPA and stuff, where you're not allowed to get stones from the riverbank, which I was like, okay, fair. I'll get them a little bit up from the riverbank. But yeah, like that's one. I prefer to use the stuff in the yard. I'm not a big fan of going to the stone yards and picking up pallets of stone, just because, you know, when we expose it, invariably there's going to be pockets or holes that are problems. Mm-hmm. But if we can find some stuff in the yard which we almost always do, or we go through, or I'll find it. Honestly, if I have it in my house, I'll dig a hole in my house and bring it.
Yeah.
So it's normally only a couple of stones here and there.
Okay.
Maggie, by the way, is like the face you never see. How old is Maggie?
I'm 14.
Is she your favorite child, Chase?
Yes.
She's my oldest.
Yeah.
Okay. Is she your favorite?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
It's funny. Fletcher asked me that same question this morning.
All right. Last question. What was the most historically connected home you've worked on?
So there's been a couple, and we're working on one now that has had, and I'll tease it a little bit, but a previous president had been in the house. But the most historic is my own.
Wow.
Benedict Arnold's wife's parents owned the property that I lived in.
Oh,
No
nice.
So
kidding.
I found that out, like, and I was pretty good at going back through deeds and finding it. Somebody had approached me. Her name is Linda. She's a photographer, believe it or not, and she was breaking into researching deeds and doing all this stuff. And she's like, "Do you mind if I do research on your house?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." But I've already done it, and I know a decent amount. I feel pretty happy. I got old pictures, the whole thing, and she comes back and presents this to me. I literally get goosebumps. I can't stop smiling. And then in an odd way, I start going back in history. I'm like, I know Benedict Arnold, trader, blah, blah, blah. Now I want to know why. I want to know more. And then you start to look at things through Benedict's, like, yes,
Yeah.
he was a trader, blah, blah. But you also know if we were put in his shoes, we'd all probably have done exactly the same thing. This is a man that got no respect
Right.
for what he was doing, and he had literally won so many damn wars but never got any credit. At that time, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, that was how they, that was inheritance, that's all those sort of things. So having that information for me, it was pretty wild. There's a couple other homes there's one other one in particular. It was 1684. That was the oldest house that I've worked on.
Jeez.
I mean, you guys think you've seen problems? I mean, it's like 300 years with the problems.
I know talking to you's made me feel a lot better about us, though, right?
Absolutely.
Good to know someone
yeah.
else shares the same pain we go through.
Yeah, and where we are, there's a Benedict Arnold connection as well.
Yeah.
The trail he took up to Quebec runs right up the Kennebec River and stuff. So if you ever want to do a little more research on Benedict, head up this way and we can commiserate over beers together in the woodshed.
Okay, this is just not fun for me right now. You guys just look happy drinking your mugs, and I'm drinking water.
Well,
By the way, how do you guys say H2O?
water.
So water. You're from down in Philly, Jersey. You guys say water. It's W-U, two umlauts, T-E-R. But so I am gonna come up and bug you guys up in Maine.
Please
Maine
do.
is probably one of my favorite places. It's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. I almost hit a moose that was like the ass end of a moose. People don't understand until you see one in person. They're absolutely huge. They look like elephants with antlers.
Yeah, on stilts. You take their legs
It's
out and then they
crazy.
fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to find a nice cabin that needs some stonework.
Stonework,
Give
yeah.
you a call up. Get you up here this summer.
Whoa. I'm not working when I come up there.
No.
I'm coming to
Consulting.
visit things here.
Yeah,
Consulting.
that's the
Oh.
easy money.
Yeah,
That's what they all say, right?
I can do that.
Perfect. Jeff, we appreciate you
Cheers,
joining
buddy.
us. We know you're filming, so thank you for taking time out of your
My
schedule to do this. We can find you at your Stonehouse Revival show on HGTV and DIY. And
Yep.
good luck to you, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Jeff.
I so greatly appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun commiserating. I look forward to drunk dialing you later at night.
Perfect.
Now that we're besties.
We can
Absolutely.
do some drunk history.
Yeah. I love it. Thanks so much,
ya.
guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It is a little bit magical. The little weed in the ground that you just walk over all the time actually has healing power, and that's really cool. The forces of nature and the amazing chemical components in plants and how they work on us. It's just wildly magical. I was a skincare junkie and perfume, like all of that stuff. I had so many different brands and styles and kinds. And one of the reasons I started making actual skincare as opposed to like healing salves, I started reading the ingredients and freaked out because like I don't know what any of them are. I thought to myself, I can make this myself. I'm gonna research this and I'm gonna find some really awesome oils and herbs that will help my skin. It is terrifying to start a business. Pickles Potions wouldn't have started without the community. There is a great big sense of aloneness in today's society. And it is amazing when you find a little town that has community and has bonds and where people actually look out for each other. I never expected it to grow this much, and it's because of the people that support me and the community. I would like Pickles Potions to grow enough that, I can support other local people. But I do not want to lose that personal touch. I don't want great big machines making my products. I want to make them, or I want to train people to make them. Pickles Potions is kind of like my lifeblood, but I feel so invested, like emotionally and intellectually, and that it feels like me. I mean, Pickle itself is my nickname, so I feel super invested in Pickles Potions because it is me.
Right, it's time for all of our favorite segment, Project Pointers, brought to us by Derwent. Submit a short video question to podcast@mainecabinmasters.com. Include your question about your project, as much detail as possible, your name, your location, and show us your project if you like with a short video, and we will try to answer it as best we possibly can.
And as I like to say, remember, free advice is free advice, whether we're right or wrong.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right. First one is from Pete Conroy from Woodacre, California.
Pete.
We recently bought a small camp in Casco, Maine that needs a jacking and leveling due to many years of frost heaving. I've watched all of your episodes over the years, and you frequently show the jacking and leveling process, but can you please explain how you install the piers for the foundation? I've seen the cement pads that you use, but how do you prepare the ground to accept them?
Very easy. And I think now we're into like, all the crews are good at it, but right now it's like jack it up like a foot or two past where you need it, and then a nice bed of crushed stone, and then your foam, and then your puck. So the crushed stone allows you to get it level. Your puck gives you the foam gives you frost insulation, and the puck on top.
Yes, and then ideally, if you can, you bring the ground level. If it's on the perimeter, if you do a drip edge around with crushed stone, bring that crushed stone up to the edge of the top edge of the puck.
Right. It looks the best.
It looks the best, and also helps with frost as well. Drainage, it gets everything up to that level. And then once you get your puck set, you get to the level you want. Take your measurement for your 6x6. I typically like to, allow for 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch.
It's going to settle.
More, because it is going to settle. So, get your 6x6 in there, get it level, get it straight, get it in a good position under any carrying beams, set it down slowly, and then always do diagonal bracing as much as you can. If it's on an outside corner, get both
directions.
Both directions. If it's in the center of an exterior wall, try and get 3 directions. If it's underneath the camp, get all 4 directions, because it's going to help keep your post from moving.
And don't be bummed out if you come back next year and it's sunk a little bit. You can just shim it. I mean, we've done that a bunch of times. Stuff's gonna move, and just be prepared for it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's a working progress. You've got to always, you can probably go a year or 2 without doing anything, but if you find that a door is starting not to close, you may need to get under there and level out one jack. Just don't let it go for years and years and years, because it just compounds and makes more work for you.
And don't bounce around. Pick one spot. Usually it's a chimney if there's one.
Yes.
Or the highest side, or if you pick the highest side and go to that.
Yeah. and get it as close as you can. It all depends on how much of a perfectionist you want to be.
Dixie's crew they were on one this week on Cobbessy. Beautiful, but the one center post where the farmer's porch or the screen porch comes in kept sinking. Just kept sinking. But finally they took it back out, put more crushed rock, more foam, and they got it. But I mean, they had to readjust like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a work in progress. And on your diagonals, make sure you get them, I would say, at least halfway down the post, so that you don't want to brace them just at the top, because then depends on how long your leg is. You want to try and lock it in place to keep your post from kicking out and moving in any way that helps everything from shifting.
That's a good synopsis right there. Idiot's Guide to Posting a Camp in Maine by Chase and Ryan. Could have been Cliff Notes, but she doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Do you guys have Cliff Notes?
They call them something else now.
Google.
What?
Yeah, right. Hey Siri, tell me the story of Mice and Men.
What?
Nothing.
I don't know, man.
What river did Benedict Arnold go off?
I don't even know what Benedict Arnold is. I'll be honest with you. Not a clue.
Oh, don't tell me that.
All right, next one. Stephanie Jones. We recently purchased a lakefront cabin in Pennsylvania. It is a rustic seasonal camp which currently has no running water. What is the best way for us to get water from the lake to use for things like flushing toilets and taking showers? Are there purification systems available that would make the water safe to drink?
Call Jeff. He's right in Pennsylvania. Just kidding.
So, at least in the state of Maine, you have to have a leach system as soon as you pressurize water. So,
describe a leach system if people don't know.
Some sort of leaching bed where you have a collection tank, whether it's a septic tank or whatever, and then the water flows out into pipes and it allows to leach into the ground.
And the ground cleans it over time.
Yeah, aerobic, reactions will help clean it. Microbials will help clean it.
We don't do a lot of filter systems, but we've done a couple nice ones. We did one at the fish camp where that came in because they wanted to drink the lake water. And that was the top end. But
that was UV, right?
UV, yeah, and some filters, charcoal filters. But, a lot of people go to your big box store and just buy the one, but you got to remember to change it.
Yep.
But that does a really good job as well.
Yes, again, if you want drinking water, you're going to need a much more sophisticated filtration system. If you have a spring on your property, you could also use that.
But for dishes, showers.
Yeah, a hand pump. We've installed a couple of those in camps. It all depends on how much water you want. But if you do a pressurized system where you've got a water tank and a pressure tank, you're definitely going to need some sort of system, at least in the state of Maine, to deal with the runoff.
The gray water.
The gray water. The black water.
Not the good water.
Not the good water.
Great. That was it for Project Pointers.
All right.
Well, keep sending the questions. Send some videos. We'll have a good answer for you.
Yeah.
Podcast at maincabmasters.com.
All right. Do we have any fan questions?
Yep.
These are the easy ones. You really can't mess up a fan question, can you?
Yeah, sometimes.
On a day like today, we probably could.
All right.
I feel like we're just starting to get our energy back a little bit right at the end.
We'll be ready for the trivia question.
Yes.
Stop. All right. This question is from Katie Korger. How do you all keep the bugs like mosquitoes and ticks away while you work? You guys seem like you work on some remote, deep woods locations, but bugs never seem to bother you.
I wish that was true. A lot of times we're on water because there is a little bit of wind there, but there are some times when they are bad. I don't really use bug spray. Do you?
I definitely will use bug spray. I tend not to spray it direct. I'll spray it on my hat.
Yeah.
Something like that, where then you put the hat on.
You should wear those safari hats.
Oh yeah, we can bring those back this year.
Get some skin so soft. Black flies are pretty bad for 3 weeks out of the early summer. Typically, if you rake leaves, you can excite them and stir them up a lot more than normal. If there's a slight breeze, they're not bad. You can have smudge fires.
We stopped having fires though, because we just got so busy, and having a fire is a lot of work.
Having fire is a lot of work, and then it creates a lot of risks. Mosquitoes, they don't tend to bother me.
It's the moose flies. When you get bit by one of those, like,
Yeah.
not fun.
And we're moving so much too that it's not like sitting around
Yeah.
a campfire or something like that, or trying to sleep at night.
But there's some new locally made stuff that people swear by, especially for the ticks and the bugs and stuff. And you can actually find some of it in our store, I believe. I think. Can you? Do we have inside homemade?
Soon to be
Yep,
for
soon
the
to
summer
be.
season.
See, look at that plug, huh?
Yeah.
I'm coming around, Maggie. You like that? I couldn't tell you what it is, but I know it's coming.
And then ticks, really, you just always have to be vigilant and keep checking for them regularly. They tend to come out in the early summer and then
They're
go
here
away.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're already
definitely here now.
So bad.
And then they go away, the height of the summer, and they'll come back out in the fall.
I was reading you need like 40 days below negative 30 to kill them or something. Like, it's never gonna happen.
And then we're lucky because we don't have brown recluse. I mean, we do, or
We have the
venomous.
moth.
Yeah, we have brown tail
Caterpillars.
moth. Again, wear long sleeve clothing.
And poison ivy. Oh, it's getting-
Anything that will make you itch, we have here.
It's getting more and more like the jungle around here.
It'll make you itch, but it won't kill you.
Right, exactly.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger
And itch.
and itchy.
I
And there you
mean,
have
there's
it.
no guarantee it won't kill you.
Yeah, you never know.
All right. Last question is from Robin Trueblood. Since the design and buildings are done without plans, how do you determine how much wood and Misc building materials you will need to complete your vision?
Whew, that's a good question.
Well, we know.
We've come a long ways. We kind of know now what to send them to start,
But like a unit of Eastern White Pine 12-inch shiplap, we pretty much can guarantee every job site is going to use at least one of those.
Mostly, probably two.
At least two,
Two.
but one will get everybody going. And again, it can be used as your underlayment. It can be used as your sheathing boards. It could be used as siding.
It depends on the budget, really.
It could be used as exterior trim. It could be used for flooring.
The one thing that saves us is that when we get the number two stuff, the tongue and grooves, the shiplap, is that it all gets used for something, like you said. I love seeing the pile, a big unit, just go in and down to like just nothing, and then you can buy the scraps in the store. So it all goes something good.
And because, these are old camps where they were all built with wood, we know getting started, we're going to use a lot of that. We're very lucky being in Maine where it's super easily accessible. All the lumber yards have it. We call up Hammond's. We say, hey, we need a unit. It's on site.
I was going to say, Hammond Lumber is our jobs are a lot harder if Hammond Lumber, like, they literally will deliver the next day. Like,
Yep.
they are run around for us, and that helps.
And then same thing with beams, too. If, we get into rotted sills, we know typically most of them are 6x6s, and 6x6 hemlock beams are same thing, readily available. Anything touching the ground is going to be pressure treated. It was tough last season when that was, more difficult to get. But
Right.
That will at least get us started and buy us time to come up with a more detailed material list.
And to be honest with you, they make us clean up the job site before they, at the reveal. So all that goes into a pile where we pick from, Like,
Yep.
I'm actually did one side of my shed from the orange from the Whitefield camp last year, outside. But you had enough. It's orange. Like, I put it on the side, no one's going to
Yep.
see, but it was already painted. It's going to last forever.
Yep.
And you'll see an accent wall here and there of stuff that's left over, or some stuff we do store away and use again.
Oh, absolutely.
But we are getting better at ordering. We're not perfect though.
That was it for questions.
Great.
I looked at her, I was like, I just set myself up, and you were very nice. Thank you.
She wasn't listening.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I tuned that last set out.
All right, so our product today down in the Kennebec Cabin Company store is this fun game, Pocket. Pocket.
It's not easy.
It's not
So,
easy.
You gotta get the round peg through the square hole.
It's the newest rage in all the bars.
Yeah.
And
You
camps.
two are really
First one to score wins.
You two are really bad at this.
Oh, Ryan won.
Sorry. It's a lot of fun though after a beer or two. We'll have Jeff back up, we'll drink some beers, and we'll puck it.
Yeah, but it's handmade in Winslow by Alan Barassa. You can get that at our store online as well, I believe. It is a new fun.
And you can come down to the Woodshed and try it for free.
Yeah.
Have a couple beers, get good at it. Maybe we'll even have a pocket tournament someday.
Yeah. Seth, our cameraman, stopped by yesterday, because it wasn't raining. He found a foosball table on the side of the road.
Oh, really?
He's like, do you want it at the Woodshed? I'm like, nope, throw it in my barn for now.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Fletcher's all excited. He wanted to put it right in our new living room. I'm like, nope, it's not going in our house.
Oh, don't give up, Fletch. Just keep bugging. Just keep bugging.
But yes, you can find this Puckett and other fun games at shopkennebeccabincompany.com, or come on into our retail store. And
Alan has, I call him Mr. Barassa because it makes him mad, but he has some other cool stuff. Some old drawers he made in like a dog food station, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that he made those as well.
At my camp, he took the old lobster pot
Yeah.
and made a vanity. So he's got a lot of really neat pieces. And one thing you got to remember is when you come in the store that a lot of some of our displays are for sale, but just take a good look.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff in there.
Spend some time, look around.
Go have a beer and come back.
Yep.
You part with your money easier. I do the same thing.
All right. Trivia question from last week was, what was the trivia question from last week?
True or false?
Yes, my kind.
Lincoln County was named after Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president.
I'm going false.
I'm going true.
False. Lincoln County was named 100 years before President Lincoln took office.
Who was he named after? Who was it named after?
I don't know.
See, they should give us that.
If you know the answer to that.
Yeah, Maggie, you should get your Cliff Notes out and check. Send the answer to that to podcast.
That will get you a bonus present. Bonus prize, not a present.
Yeah.
Who was Lincoln County named after, if not our president?
One paragraph.
Yep.
Okay.
Double space.
Essay format.
And I was an English teacher, so it better be good.
And we will check your footnotes.
Yes. Or your Cliff Notes.
All right. This one is, who was the Maine Mariner coach who became coach for the Philadelphia Flyers during the 80-81 season?
I can't believe you're asking a sports question.
Nice job.
Why?
Okay.
I don't need to know the answer to it.
I'm putting a bonus question in.
Do you know the answer to this?
Of
course you do.
I know. What Central Maine native was on the U.S. Olympic
You can't give him
team?
2 trivia questions.
No, I know this one.
This is a Ryan question.
Yeah,
This is
I
for
like
me.
it.
Yeah.
You have to know the answer to both of them, too, to win.
Yeah. So what Central Maine hockey player played in the NHL and was on the, I think, an 88 Olympic team? Because it was a big fanfare around
Yep.
here. Grew up in my neighborhood.
And who
Oh my
was
God.
what was the first
what
part?
is happening?
No, what was your question?
The trivia question?
Yeah.
Before you completely took off the rails?
Yes.
Who was the Maine Mariner coach who became the coach for the Philadelphia Flyers during the 80-81 season?
This isn't a question, but I got one more tidbit of
Oh my
information.
God.
Did you guys know the owner of the Philadelphia Flyers has a camp on Cobbessy Lake? He has for 40 years.
So should we go ask him the answer?
We should. If you're watching, if anyone knows him, have him come in and have a beer with us at the Woodshed, and we'll talk some hockey.
Yeah.
Are the Philadelphia Flyers hockey?
Jedi would probably check you
I
right
assumed
now.
they were. I didn't know. I was going basketball.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
I'm impressed you asked. Way to think outside.
At least you didn't think it was like an acrobat team.
I mean, I know.
Oh, high
I know the
flyers.
region.
All right. If you know the answer, podcast.
I feel like we saved this one. It was started out slow. It was tired.
No, we had a great guest. Thank you,
Oh,
Jeff,
yeah.
for joining us. Thank you, Renee and Paul, for joining us. The blame's all on us
Oh,
for this
yeah.
one, but
I feel like we came around. We started slow, but, like I say, it's not how you start the day, it's how you finish it.
absolutely. And we want to thank our guest, Jeff Devlin, for joining us, and the camp owners. And thank you to Maggie. Thank you to Ryan. Thank you to our sponsors, Nelma, Hero Media Arts, and Hammond Lumber Company.
I take that back.
I know. I was looking at the front page. I was going to go through it all. We couldn't have done it without our sponsors and our guests. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us. Thank you to our camp owners. Thank you to our sponsors, Nelma, Hero Media Arts, Hammond Lumber Company. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Ryan. From the Woodshed, we'll be talking to you.
Good job. We did it.